All right, let's talk about receipts. The Chicago Bears right now are 7-3. First time in a long time since 2018, Chicago Bears are on the top of the NFC North. They're doing their thing right now. I went game by game in a previous video earlier this season, and so far, I have been on point. So let's go through it. Let's see exactly what my predictions has got us to, because right now the Bears, that strong 7-3 record is great. And then hopefully we're gonna see if the rest of my predictions were correct here on Mind on Bears, the debate. What is good, y'all? We are back into it. Welcome to Mind on Bears. This is the debate. Wow, wow, wow. Bear season has been crazy. That first game, I predicted that we were going to get a win. I thought that we were going to go ahead and smack JJ McCarthy across the face, but apparently we lost that game. We definitely lost that game. JJ was looking like he was the next coming of something for the Vikings, because the Vikings have had a not bad, winning season when it came down to having their quarterbacks being established within their team, Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold's previously before. But as you all know, it turned out a little bit different later on throughout that time. But within that, it was so early. It was very early, and I was very wrong about that matchup. So right there, I'll go ahead. And with that here, we're going to go ahead and put it on the board as we were not being able to work out what we needed to do at home against the Vikings. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves a nice big X against the Vikings. Moving along, we're going to week 2. Week 2, I thought myself personally, once again, looking at my predictions, I was like, I predicted a loss, and guess what? Reality, we lost to the Vikings. I'm not the Vikings. I predicted a loss, and in reality, we lost to the Lions. I thought that Ben Johnson might have a little bit of an issue when it came back to it. This was his return back to Detroit. That offense at home is very hard to go against them. And Detroit, they definitely showed that offense at home was something extremely scary. So that right there ended up giving the Chicago Bears 0-2 on the season. And I myself was wrong as well. I was 0-0 in my marking. But from my predictions on how I believe the first game would go between JJ McCarthy and everyone within that video, I understood that, hey, this is how the Bears can win. And it seems like later on in the season, that's exactly how we won. This ends up being the week that we mess around and, man, we were supposed to take this victory. Lamar Jackson was hurt. My predictions for the game itself against the Ravens, I said we would win. I thought that we would have something real nice and dialed up for Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. But sad to say, we let Tyler Huntley, whatever his name is, we just let him come into the game and dominate us for some reason. Dennis Allen did not have anything for them, and he really couldn't do too much. And Caleb Williams didn't play necessarily the best of games. Our offense was dropping balls throughout the game. It was tough at this point. The offense wasn't fully in sync. It was a good game plan, but it just didn't work out, didn't pan out. The team knew theirself that they needed to execute a lot more. And I knew that from looking at the game plan and the structure that we have, you got Ben Johnson out there with his offensive mindset and Dennis Allen making sure that he kind of collaborates with him while they're playing the game. We should have something. And little did I know, we had the next matchup coming. We find ourselves at game 8 going against what I thought was going to be Joe Burrow and Chase, but guess what? It was actually Joe Flacco. It was a whole nother Joe, and that Joe came to play. Joe Flacco definitely came to play. As I was saying, the Saints game, it showed the defense was showing up. But this game here, by the end of it, man, I was still knowing and feeling as a Bears fan that we have some serious issues on defense, man. We went back and forth with Joe Flacco in this matchup. This is a matchup that we should have easily won, but Flacco was just dotting it up in the fourth quarter. But, of course, with Caleb Williams at the helm, Iceman at this point, man, he's starting to garner that name, Iceman. He was actually able to get us down the field into positive yardage, and we were able to take that game away with a victory. So that was definitely a great one on the way to our Week 9 opponent, which, sad to say, is another situation that we must go over. The next game, we hosted the Giants, and we had a nasty catch just like that one right there. I just can't believe that the Chicago Bears were actually letting Jackson Dart look like a regular quarterback out here. Jackson Dart had a lot of hype behind him. But if you haven't noticed, after you lose to the Bears, you put everything in question. Everything in question. That's a good thing and a bad thing for the Bears, but I take it as a very good thing because we make teams understand they're not ready. If they can't beat us, they're not ready. You understand? Especially with the squad that we have now. So you have this guy here, Jackson Dart, dancing his way into concussions. 9 interceptions. Thinking about J.J. McCarthy again. They're kind of looking the same at this point, right? It seems like you're having a lot of teams betting on the showboating of these quarterbacks, right? And not just overall integrity and what they're actually delivering within the games. They're really loving the showboating, but that's neither here nor there. Bears fans, we got this one in a victory. I predicted a victory. Scatterboo was not there, so I was actually happy that we didn't get to go against Scatterboo. I would have liked to seen if we were able to stop him. But I know that next year, if we do go against New York and Scatterboo, that's going to be something extremely crazy. It really, the biggest thing is right now, Scatterboo has made sure that New York has been his home forever and always. He said that on social media earlier today. So, yeah, let's see what happens and let's build a little rivalry. Let's knock Jackson Dart and Scatterboo out a couple times, Bears fans, right? And so we're getting to our last matchup. Oh, man, Week 11 matchup between the Vikings and the Bears. We went to Minnesota, and we showed up, man. The Purple People Eaters were definitely trying to do their thing. This is where we exposed J.J. McCarthy from the first game. My predictions in the first game, in my prediction video earlier this season, I said there were certain things and aspects that we need to attack New York on. Not New York, look at that. I'm thinking about Jackson Dart again. But attack the Vikings on. And one thing that I realized about that was we did all of that and then some within this New York game. So I was definitely happy to see that. But still, as a Bears fan, I am definitely cautious of our defense and this offensive line. I understand they're saying our offensive line statistically is one of the top lines out there. I still see Caleb Williams getting, Caleb Williams still getting pressure in areas that he doesn't need to. There's a reason why Caleb Williams is having to hit that circle button every time and spin. It's because he's getting too much pressure. So yes, the lines are stopping him from getting hit at times, but at times where he needs non-pressure, he's getting the pressure. If you know what I mean, I said non-pressure. Anyway, so it was definitely a great matchup. I thought that by that time, given I gave the Vikings the first win of that first week, I thought that they were going to win this last one. But my predictions were actually reversed. So we actually ended up taking this game against the Vikings, and it was a beautiful turnout at the end of the day to see that we were able to execute and do everything that we needed to within that game, that the offense and the defense were able to at least look and feel like we can push forward these next, 8 weeks or whatever it is of the season and really contend for the playoffs and, kind of put ourselves in a good spot. Now, as Bears fans, we won't be in that draft hunt anymore, so now it's going to be on Ryan Poles to really do some things, get on those phones, trade players, make things work, really show his magic. But so far, Ryan Poles has made great choices. A lot of the players that Ryan Poles has picked let's just say this. A lot of players that Ryan Poles has passed on have all been injured at one point or another or aren't showing up in their teams. For our team, we've even had all the way up to the point of Theo Benedict, our left tackle that was hurt last year, coming back and showing up and taking over the job from Braxton Jones. Something that all Bears fans were looking forward to, especially after seeing Hard Knocks and Theo Bennett and his energy and stuff like that. So that's going to be a great one. And I know I'm looking forward to getting a lot more from that. But at the end of the day, if we can't get more from that, then it's going to be one of those day after day things, and we're just going straight through, the ups and downs of feeling like a Bears fan of here we go again and so on and so forth. But guess what? We're nowhere close to here we go again. We've already shown that this is a different team. Ben Johnson has already shown that this is a different team. This is not the same team as last year. It's not. That was Matt Eberflus's team, filled with errors and people that didn't remember or know how to play the game at that point. So much so that a quick shout out to Justin Fields. I am very sorry that Justin Fields, it seems like Matt Eberflus did destroy everything you know about football. And now he's no longer a great quarterback, but I'm hoping that someone can unlock him in the future. But next week, Game 12 against the Eagles. Big shout out to the Eagles, by the way. Eagles, we had a nice little friendship. Not even a rivalry. We had a good old friendship because you took those boys out and we took those boys out for you. So it was a beautiful rivalry in namaste, as they say, or I should say appreciate it. So now we're going against the Eagles on during the Game 12 matchup. And I actually myself have a prediction of us losing to the Eagles. Only reason why is right now the Eagles are just on another level. Could we steal it? For sure. We could definitely steal it, but they are definitely different right now. Jalen Hurts is making Cam Newton eat his words. Even Caleb Williams is making Cam Newton eat his words right now because Cam Newton apparently is trying to get into the media world and on TV a lot more. And so I noticed that whenever you're trying to be a TV personality, you got to pick certain players and teams to bash. And Cam Newton chose Caleb Williams and the Bears to go ahead and talk about and downplay, which is what everyone does. So that means he's not doing anything new. I wish that he did do something new and actually tried better. Actually went out there and really tried to predict something that people didn't already think themselves to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? He just kind of blah, 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 negative, other than just riding the fence or being positive. He just wanted to be negative. You know what I'm saying? And how do we feel as Bears? We don't need none of that. We don't need none of that. We don't need, get that up out of here. We don't need none of that. Anyway, moving along, Game 13 against the Packers. I'm predicting a win. It's going to be interesting to see what Jordan Love has at this point, especially given he hasn't been well during the season. They're going to try to be very slick with the play calling, I feel, especially going against Ben Johnson. They're going to see if they can kind of mix it up with him and show him, we're rivals. So we're going to go at it. So I got a feeling it's going to be a very slick do or die, but up to the mark, maybe 3 to 7 point victory, like every other Bears game so far this season. And I see the Bears winning that game against the Green Bay Packers. Game 14 against the Browns, I predict a loss. Same thing from my same video, same thing. He's saying the same exact things. I'm not a man to go against my words. I somewhat feel the same. But at this point against the Browns, guess what? I feel we can win. But here's the thing, Bears fans. Me, myself, reasons why. Here's my reasons why I felt like we were going to lose. I thought Shedeur Sanders was going to be in the game. I thought their defensive line with Mason Graham and, that other guy on the other side, Garrett, nasty Myles Garrett, was actually going to go ahead and do some things this year. And they were going to all be in sync. Guess what? We are going to possibly go against Shedeur. But then Shedeur didn't really get in sync with his team and stuff like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how that matchup goes. I still have us as a loss on the season, but realistically, we can get a win on that one. And that right there would be very, very nice. I would love to see that. Moving along, we have the Packers. The Packers are our next matchup. Earlier, the week before, Jordan Love apparently did his thing and he had won that one, right? That's what I predicted. I predicted that Jordan Love did his thing. Here's my thing about that. I got a feeling that they came up with a game plan and they finally get to pull out one. And at the end of the day, Bears, we're not going to go down without a fight. You know what I'm saying? So I see Caleb Williams making sure that just like last year, the Packers understand this last game against them, we're taking that dub, baby. So I easily see the Chicago Bears taking that dub against the Green Bay Packers because we're going to see what they have at first, possibly lose to them that first time, and then 2 weeks later come with a game plan to just destroy these boys. So it's going to be very interesting as long as we stay healthy and we stay in command and the offensive line keeps giving Caleb time. And Caleb just, he's relaxed and he does everything that he needs to as a young leader of this team. Then we got the 49ers. The 49ers is actually one of my son's other favorite teams, and I have us beating the 49ers. The 49ers, I don't see them necessarily having their game plan in order, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy or whoever it may be. I don't see them doing anything with it. It doesn't seem like they're going to have anything whatsoever to give us by the end of this year. I got a feeling they're going for draft picks. There's going to be a lot of teams going for draft picks by the end of this year. And more or less just kind of giving teams the victory. So I feel like the Bears are not going to steal one, but they're going to easily roll over them in this case. They haven't felt like the same dominant Niners for years. They haven't been there since, I would have to say personally, the Kaepernick time, or maybe even Jimmy Garoppolo. Other than that, I haven't seen too much out of them. George Kittle may have to leave San Francisco to become something. But sad to say, Kittle is getting older. I can see him just retiring and saying he wished that they did something and they never did. And that being his excuse, other than going to another team and making it work and possibly getting himself a ring or something like that. But, that's nothing against George Kittle or anything like that. He's a great player. It's just I hate teams that don't necessarily utilize all the great players that they have. And when those talents don't get a ring or at least, get to show their worth a few times in their life, it sucks. It definitely sucks big time. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. But we're going to come out with a victory with that one. And with the final game of the season, game 17 against the Lions, I see the Chicago Bears taking out a victory, making sure that the Lions see whether they're in the playoffs or not. We ain't nothing to play with, man. They got that first game of the season. That's cool. We've had a full 15, 16 games to prep, get ready, and understand what they're doing, and they can understand what we're doing to a certain extent. But guess what? Let's not forget, at this point of the season, right now, Bears fans, our offense isn't even molded yet. We don't even really know what our offense is yet. So by that time, Detroit won't even really know what to do. So it's going to be a completely different game than game one when they went against us. So I'm looking forward to having us get that clean victory. I want to see a statement win. I want a statement victory. I want a game that we can remember for the whole regular season that, Ben Johnson is definitely that guy. And Detroit, sometimes you got to pay your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and any teams in general, even us at some, points losing people. You got to pay them. If you want them to stay, pay them. Pay them. Just pay them. Period, point blank. If you pay them, then you're all good. And moving on to our closing. So, that's how we got here. That's how it's been tracking. And this is how the rest of the season's been playing out. I'm hoping to see we can have more strong leads within these teams and not giving up the victory, not having to need Caleb's magic at the end of the games, because it seems like that's something that we're always needing at the end of the games. If this holds, we're talking double-digit victories, people. Double digits, man. We have a real shot of making the playoffs and actually having some people scared of us for years to come. I think right now people are already scared of the Bears, So drop your predictions for the final Bears season. Let me know. Is this our last win right here? Or are we going to continue and get a couple more wins and make this playoffs? That's a few things that I need to know. Is there going to be a Browns loss? Are we going to get that loss? Are they going to play Shador? Are we going to split with the Packers? What's going to really happen? You know what I'm saying? Let's argue about it in the comments, y'all. And as always, it's been that dude, the one and only Mind of Murdoch. This right here has been the Mind on Bears, the debate.